Hello and welcome back to Dr. Freda Power Session, where we stop performing growth and start living it. I'm Dr. Freda, and this is a space for real conversations about self trust, emotional intelligence, and what it actually takes to lead yourself through life and love. Here, we don't rush healing. We don't sugarcoat truth, and we don't confuse awareness with transformation. Power isn't about having it all together. It's about being honest enough to show up differently with yourself first. Every session is an invitation to pause, reflect, and choose alignment over autopilot. Now, let's get into today's session. In today's session, I have the pleasure of having Isabella Young, founder and owner of Feeling Better Naturally. Isabella is passionate about helping people live as sovereign beings with optimal physical, mental, and spiritual well being. Now, her first book, Putting on the Armor of God, a survival handbook for the Great Awakening and New Earth, exposes the war on humanity and what we can do to protect and empower ourselves. Her second book, New Human of New Earth, offers readers hundreds of natural medicines and body, earth, spiritual technologies to optimize well being, expansion of consciousness, and soul evolution. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce Isabella Young. Hi, Isabella.
Hi, Dr. Freda. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be on your show. It's been a pleasure to meet you, and I've just loved our connection. And I know that now we both love Hawaii and have a deeper appreciation for the role of nature in our well-being. So I'm looking forward to this conversation today.
And for listeners who do not know, I lost my father back in September, and Isabella and I met, was it like November, December? And I was still going through the grieving process, and just talking to Isabella and just being on that same frequency, I was able to just start crying out of nowhere. And it was just the most freeing and therapeutic thing that I have ever done up until that point of losing my father. And so when I say, Isabella, you just created this safe space for me. And I don't even know if you knew that you was doing that, but it was just, I felt so safe and comfortable that I didn't even know that it was gonna come out like that, my tears, and it just was overwhelmingly therapeutic for me. And I really thank you for just sharing that space with me.
Yeah, well, you're most welcome. And we created that space together. And thank you for honoring me with your sacred tears, because it's so
Yes.
important for us to appreciate crying as a medicine.
Mm.
It's so important that we do cry
Yeah.
often and deeply, and also cry tears of happiness too. It's a
Yes. Yeah. We always think it's just you're crying because you're sad. Like, no, sometimes you cry because you're really happy. You're really
yeah,
happy. So,
and grateful too. Tears of gratitude. I
yes.
like those.
Oh my gosh, yes. And we have so much to be grateful for. We really do. But today's conversation is for high functioning adults who've done the work intellectually, but still may feel something living in their body they can't think their way out of. And it has nothing to do with intellect, academics, or anything. This is dealing with getting deep into your body and feeling those feelings. And so today we're going to talk about when your body remembers what your mind tries to forget. So, before we jump into our conversation, let's get grounded first. And so, Isabella, what are we actually talking about from a physiological perspective or a somatic perspective when we say the body remembers? What do we mean when we say that?
Well, from my understanding, when we experience trauma or we have events in our lives that occur that then we react to them, those emotions are generated basically from within. And if you think about it, emotions are energy and motion. So we're creating these different energies, energies of grief or sadness or anger or rage or whatever. So if we don't express those emotions, then if we don't release those emotions, then they stay stored within the body. And we just talked about crying. Now, crying, that's what crying does. It releases the emotions. And you know yourself after you've had a good cry, that might
Mm.
have snot and
Yeah.
sounds and all that, then have released yourself of those emotions. But if they aren't released, then they can stay stored in different areas of the body. And I think it applies differently for different people. Some people might store
Mm,
anger in the liver. They store that feeling like the weight of the world's on their shoulders, so their shoulders are burdened down, or they're feeling stress. So, the stomach gets upset. And I think that what's important is for us to be tracking our own body and feel where those different stored emotions might be, and then to use different therapies. Don't always have to go and find a therapist, but we can do some practices ourselves, like crying, like raging, going in your car and
mhm,
screaming your head off with the windows up, or
mhm.
to a pillow or into a towel, beat up a cardboard box with a
Yeah.
baseball bat. So there are ways
Yeah.
that we can release those stored emotions, because if we don't, they end up causing physical problems and
Yeah.
mental health challenges too. So
Mm.
it's really, it's another level of responsibility that we need to go to. And this kind of the sneaky thing is that we can think, oh, I'm going along okay, and then the body might break down in a certain way, so that then gives you an indication, oh, well, I need to keep working. I need to keep addressing what's underneath these different layers. So it's a ongoing process, really. But what I've found
Mm.
is it's been helpful to tap into where the emotions lie in the body is through different sorts of breath work. And the one that I used was called rebirthing, which is basically like circular breathing, sorry. And when the mind is
Mhm.
taken out of the way, then whatever the body's got going on can be released. Because actually the body, like the body has its own
Yeah.
intelligence. In fact, not only the body, but
Mhm.
organs have their own intelligence, right? And even the cells
Yes.
have their own intelligence.
Yes.
And they're speaking to us. And the question is,
Yes.
are we listening?
That's a good point, and I think that's your second book, alludes to that with the medicines that can even just heal your body. But at the same time, you don't know what to heal if you're not even in tune with what's going on in your body. And I think for a lot of people to process like hurt and trauma, it's a lot, and so it's easy to store it stores in our body, and we go on, like you were saying that, "Okay, I'm fine," but then you have knots in your back or,
Yeah,
like you said, your liver is being compromised or you just sometimes for me, I can feel a tightness in my chest,
yeah.
and that's when I know that I'm not operating from a place of love. And I think that sometimes like ego likes to get in the way, but sometimes people do not want to practice that self-awareness to see what is going on in their body to even start that first step.
Right.
A-
Well, there's so many
And
distractions going on, so many distractions that keep us focused externally rather than
Mhm.
internally. And, and there's a reason for that, because if we aren't focused internally, then we are disempowered. We're usually in some ways suffering and
Yes.
not at our not optimally functioning. Yeah, for listening to the body, tuning in, making time to do that. And then what I do when I tune in is I also send, asking the body, is there anything you need? Do you want me
Mm.
to eat more of this or less of that, or drink more water or have more exercise. So listen to the body and then follow those instructions. And then also what I do is like tune into, this is there's this guy, his name's Mantak Chia,
Mm.
Mantak Chia. He's a Thai master. He does martial arts, but he's also like a very highly evolved being. And he talks about meditations that speak to different organs of the body to see what the different
Oh.
organs might need. And also a really important part of that is sending love and light and gratitude to each of the, each of the
Yep.
limbs, each of the organs, the skin, and thank different parts of the body for the roles that they are playing. Because they have to work pretty hard to keep us going, keep us healthy,
Yeah.
right? Because there's a lot of, we're under attack in a lot of ways. So the body is working really hard to keep us upright, keep us moving. So it's important, from my point of view, to send thanks and gratitude to my body. I do that a lot, actually.
Yes. That's a good point. I always express gratitude, but not specifically to my body. So I need to start doing that because I think we get in the habit of always thinking what our body is not doing versus being grateful for what our body is doing. So I need to start practicing that specifically for my body.
Yeah, and then I also do things like, if I'm putting moisturizer on my body, I will be
Mhm.
putting that on with gratitude. Like, thank you so much, for helping me through this life journey. Really, that's what our bodies are they're our vessels for our soul. So I
Yes.
spend a lot of time appreciating my body. I mean, that's what you can also think about exercise like that too, because the body does need to
Mhm.
sweat and, you
Move.
know, so that's a way to show gratitude to the body. And also, to what I found important is to trust in the like the wisdom of the body. So trust
Mm.
that we can heal ourselves, that the body can, given the right nutrition, the right environment, the right like mental, the right mindset, and whatever. And it might be supplements, or maybe it is pharmaceutical drugs or whatever. But whatever the body needs to, once it's given those things, then it can heal. We are a self-healing vessel, which
Yes.
is
Yes,
extraordinary.
I love that, but like you said, with the right environment, the right nutrition, your body is very intelligent. It can heal
Yeah,
itself,
right.
with the right thing. So, why with that in mind, why is there such a disconnect with so many people? Why can someone understand their story logically, like they know what they went through, but yet they still react emotionally or physically as if the past is happening right now? Like they're reliving that traumatic experience almost every day, or they are able to get easily triggered by outside force, and it's like they go back and relive that same experience again. How are they is it the lack of processing that trauma, or how are they not moving from what happened to their current reality?
I would say it's that there's still stored trauma. There's still unaddressed patterns, unaddressed grief, trauma, childhood wounds. It's
Mhm.
basically healing. It, for me, is a lifelong process, and we
Mhm.
can think that we've addressed fears of abandonment or whatever from childhood, or feelings of
Mhm.
betrayal, or whatever it is. It's a multi-layered thing. It's just not like one screaming rage filled thing and it's done. There's lots of
Yeah.
layers to it. So I suppose that's just an indication. It's the same thing with how the body is. Instead of going, oh my God, I'm sick again. It's like, oh, okay, what are you showing me this time? What do I need to address this time?
Mm.
Oh, I'm back into my jealous self, or my, scared self, or whatever. What? Thank you. So that now I know that I've still
Mm.
got some work to do in that area. And then maybe it's a different type of therapy that's been used before. Maybe it's something like EMDR which is, you probably can help me with this,
Mhm.
eye movement desensitization and reprogramming, right? Or tapping.
Yes.
And I'm sure there's other therapies that can be used, but it might be going down another road to, like, I look at it a bit like weeding a garden. Sometimes you can pull out the weed and there's still some roots in the
Mm.
ground. So then you've got to go and dig deep and pull out the roots so the weed's not there. And so then take that metaphor to life. So then you're not reacting in the same ways that you used to. You're not stuck in the same old patterns of responding to life events like you were when you were a child because you had to protect yourself, because you weren't safe and you didn't know who to trust or whatever. So it's really is an ongoing process of thinking about different ways to approach the releasing of old traumas and stuff. I reckon that's what I've had to do. And
And I love how you said that you have to honor your trauma by being kind, basically, and just saying, okay, this is something that I still need to work on. It's almost like if you coming, like you said, with a cold or your body gets sick, like, okay, I need help with this immune support. And the same thing with any type of like trigger or trauma that's unprocessed. And then for me, and I don't know if I told you this before in our previous conversations, but I had trauma that I got through my mom's womb. Like I got in the womb that I didn't
yeah,
even know it
right.
wasn't even mine. So I had to, but it showed up later in just um past toxic relationships. And I had behavior I was like, where would I have picked this up from? Because it wasn't mine. And so I had to get through that type of healing and things of that nature. But to your point, you don't know what you don't know. And I think that's what the word trigger comes in too. Because if something's still triggering you in a negative way, then there's some opportunities for you to grow in that
Right.
area or whatever that is.
Yeah.
So I like that.
How did you come to know that your triggers were from in utero?
Yes, I did a past life regression.
Oh,
And
right.
so I did that. And then when when I was doing my past life regression, I thought it was going to be, like a whole nother person. And I ended up in my mother's womb. And
Wow.
so I was able to hear and feel what she was going through. And it was very sad for me. And I cried. And I just didn't cry for myself, but I cried the tears that wish my mother would have cried. And let me tell you, my mom is a very strong woman, like to this day. But I just wish that she embraced therapy. And so but I did cry tears for her that I em empathetic towards her because I didn't understand her a lot of time growing up, but at that moment in my adult life when I had that experience, I understood for the first time where she was coming from when she was carrying me and how she raised my sister and I. And it was almost she had to be strong and had to have this wall to protect her and us emotionally in so many ways. But after that, our relationship got so much better because now I'm coming with asymmetrical information where she doesn't. If I try to explain it to her, she'll be like, "What are you talking about?" so, but but I have so much empathy and respect for her after going through that experience. But it
Beautiful.
was it was tough.
And
Yeah,
that's also
yeah.
just an example of how when we do our healing work, it affects other people, even if they don't know or understand what's going on. It has a ripple effect out into the ether
Yes.
when we become more clear and
Hmm.
free of wounds and stuff. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. And I just also it speaks to your courage too, because to go and do a different type of therapy or past life regressions or whatever it is, rebirthing,
Yes.
you don't know where you're going to go. You don't know what's going to happen. I've gone into situations where I end up in like a screaming, crying, thrashing mess on the floor. And
Hmm.
it takes courage to go through those sorts of experiences. And that's like a lot of people don't even want to cry. They apologize as soon as they start crying. It's like, stop that. It's okay. You're going to live. You'll get through this. You will get to the other side. It mightn't feel that good. It doesn't feel that good, actually.
Yeah.
But
No.
there is the other side. And once you're on the other side, then you are going to feel a lot better. Yeah, you're very courageous.
Yes, yes. But you have to do like that's the thing. And I always tell people you have to go through it to get to that other side. People want to go around it or forget about it. No, you have to go through it. Is it tough? Yes. Is it scary? Yes. And it's something that you can't necessarily have a partner do it with you. Like this is something you have to do yourself. And it was scary, but I needed it and our relationship needed it. And I didn't know I needed it at the time. I didn't know what I need. I just know that I had behavior and patterns that didn't resonate with who I w who I was. And so that's what made me even decide to do a deeper dive.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for that. And so going back to the signals that people tend to ignore, well, I know you mentioned like problems in the liver and other physical issues that can
Symptoms.
happen from yeah, from something that you can hold inside, but it can transform into something physical. What are some other physical signs have you seen in your work from unresolved experiences? Even though a person say, I'm fine, but you have seen physical signs that they're not okay.
Cancer.
I knew you was gonna say that. I knew you was gonna
That's
say
probably the most common.
yeah,
And then you've got
yeah.
things like, a lot of those chronic conditions, like heart disease, people say that that can come from feeling brokenhearted.
Mm,
When my first husband died, he had a coronary atherosclerosis, which is hardening of the arteries. Basically, his heart stopped functioning.
yeah,
And I felt so
yeah.
guilty for such a long time because I thought, was he brokenhearted about something? I don't know. Maybe I was thinking too much about it. But there's
Mm,
the heart issues, digestive issues. Um, there are so many articles that you can read. There are like body maps done where they show where the emotions are stored and
yes,
the illnesses are that could manifest. It's all throughout the body.
yes,
And then there's also going into the mental illnesses, right? Like depression. That's probably the most common
yeah,
one
yeah,
that I deal with depression. It's something that I have to,
yeah,
it's like the wolf at the door type of thing. So yeah,
yeah, yeah.
my understanding is that, well, I don't know most or all or whatever. Anyway, a lot of our physical conditions start in the mind, start with some kind of
Mhm,
mental stress or challenge or abuse or whatever, and then goes
mhm,
into the body. So, and then manifests itself. And so, if we don't pay attention to those little subtle signs, if we don't pay attention to those signs, then it can manifest through the body into something way more serious until we go, oh shit, like I've got a terminal illness here. What am I going to do? We do have opportunities to be able to intercede in the process, the disease process. We can intervene and don't end up sick and suffering or dead. So yeah, that's my best understanding of it. Starts in, and even if you think about it, it even starts beyond that, right? It starts in the non-physical realms, then into the mental realm, then into the physical realm.
Well, how in your opinion, how do you think your body can react to something the mind genuinely doesn't remember then? Some people can go through such a traumatic, horrific experience, especially when they're younger, and they can literally make themselves forget that it even happened, but their body does still remember. How do you work with those type of people to just bring it back to the forefront so the healing can start?
Well, it would have to start with the individual first, right? For the individual to
Mm,
at least make that connection. But like you said, what you felt that there were ways that you were acting and responding and that weren't really serving you. So it really starts with the individual. And
yeah,
then once there's that connection made between, oh, well, it's, I'm carrying past trauma or I'm, still, responding like I said before, like I was a child or whatever. So the individual needs to make that connection. And then I think it's a matter of looking for different therapies and technologies, medicines or whatever, feeling into the body what the body wants. What you felt, oh, past life regression, okay, let's go do that. Or I felt, let's go for a swim, let's do that. So it's a very individual thing. And there's not much and this is your role too. There's not much that you can do if someone doesn't want to do the work.
that's
You
true.
can you can point in the right, this direction, that direction, but it's really each of us has to take responsibility for our own uh, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual well-being. And yeah, we are here to support each other, and that's what we're doing now. But really, it kind of comes down, like you said, no one else can do this for us. And
No, no.
even for you and I, that seems like such, we go, "Oh, stored trauma is causing current physical or mental health problems." But for most people, that connection is so far removed from their understanding of themselves and their bodies. I think that's probably the sad truth.
And I tell every client that I get, I will do as much as you're willing to do. I cannot force you to do any type of mindful journaling or do anything that you're not willing to first put your in as well. So but I definitely agree that if people really want to do the work and really want to get better or even feel better, then they're going to have to do the work. And is it uncomfortable? Yes. It's very uncomfortable, but it's so needed, and the way you emerge on the other side is 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 almost like what is that, Tupac Shakur's, book, A Rose from Concrete? Is literally a rose coming from concrete. It's such a beautiful evolution that you're gonna go through.
That's a beautiful image
Eh,
to have
yeah.
that to hold on to. Right. Yeah.
Yes, and we get so fixated with the final result, but the beauty is in the process.
Yeah.
Is life, living is in the process.
I think the healing is a lifelong process.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think we're gonna get to a point where we go, "Oh, that'll probably be the when death comes," right? "Okay, I'm done with this, on with the on to the next thing." But yeah, it's a lifelong process. I was just gonna say that it's also important because for those of us who are on the healing journey, and it can be very challenging, it's important to take breaks like you just did. We do need to go, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I'm not gonna go hard at it today and find what else I need to deal with. What are my issues today?" Like, what's on the table? Take some time to just, relax, enjoy, you know, pat yourself on the back for how well you're doing and not always be on that, "Oh, I've gotta work on this, gotta work on that." It's important to take some time to just enjoy life, enjoy simple things and take it easy. Balance
Yes,
out the work with the play.
exactly. Give yourself permission to just because that's part of healing too,
Right,
taking
exactly.
breaks.
Right, and having fun, right?
Yes,
That's so
doing what you
healing.
want to do.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my goodness. My partner and I, we always talk about that. And I'm like, what is your passion? And for us, our passion is traveling and being just in different cultures. And he's a foodie. So experiencing different foods and things of that nature. And I just like to just get outside and see nature and go for a hike or it was just we actually did a couple of hikes in Hawaii too. We did more water features and we went to waterfalls and things of that nature, but it was just that is a part of the healing process too. So, but what I also noticed too, in some of my clients that either they're wanting to get in a relationship or they're in a relationship that they are self-sabotaging in some respect and with through coaching and a lot of exercises and talking I realized that they themselves like as an individual have unprocessed trauma and have not healed from previous traumas in their life. And so in your practice, how do you think the body's memory of past trauma show up in intimacy or in relationships where they're emotionally withdrawing from
Right, I think that's where it often shows up the most, doesn't it? In that intimate space, because that's when you know how much you feel like you can trust and open your heart and share your
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's where maybe that's one of the reasons why we do come into relationships, because then we've got someone who can show us more about ourselves, more about our fabulousness and more about our woundedness. So we, get
Yes.
that reflection back. But yeah, I think that the relationship is for me that I can
Mhm.
really see, well, I'm withdrawing here, or I'm judging there, or I'm
Mm.
not being empathic enough, or I'm being too selfish or whatever. I think that's really where a lot of our wounding shows up. And then that's another
Mm.
opportunity to deal with those issues, and then that opens space for a deeper love, for more intimacy. So it's a and then if you did that work, I mean, we do have to do our own work, but maybe there's I'm sure some people do that work together. I don't have a partner who works with me in that way, but that
Yeah.
that's that'd be beautiful to be able to do, that type of healing work together.
Yes. I often well, not often, I sometimes get, clients who come in and they say, "I want a spouse. I want a partner, like I want to be with someone, not necessarily get married, but at least have a romantic person in their life." And they come to me, they're very adamant, and by week 4 or 5, their narrative starts to change and say, maybe I'm not ready for a relationship. Maybe I just want to date myself. I don't bring them to that decision. I I usher them in, I help them, I empower them, but they ultimately come to that decision and a conclusion to themselves. And it's so funny. By the time of that 8-week program is over, they're like so empowered and they say, I just want to focus on myself. They take themselves out on dates. Because I always wonder, I'm like, you want someone to do this for you, but you're not even willing to do it for yourself. Like it makes no sense to me. Or you were carrying baggage from a previous relationship, but anybody who comes in your life, you're like repelling them because you're punishing them for what someone did 10 years ago. And so we worked through a lot of those through those traumas and those triggers. And then sometimes I'll hear back maybe a few months later after they finish working with me, and they'll send me an email and they'll be like, "Hey, I finally found, a person that I was actually one of my clients actually recently got married, and she found her Mr. Forever." And so yeah, her in particular, she had a lot of just like toxic relationships, but she learned how to deal with the opposite sex from her childhood. She didn't have good relationships with her own father. Started this relationship of like every opposite sex that every man she dealt with, including her own son. But we worked through some things, and she actually invited me to her wedding. Yeah, it was just a full circle. I was so grateful that she came to just know how beautiful and powerful she is like just as an individual. And anything or anyone else who come along is just an accessory to that.
Right,
And
that's
so
such a beautiful story, because I think it's absolutely insane how we're all traumatized by childhood in some way. No one escapes childhood unscathed. Even if you think you had the perfect family and all that, there is still wounding and all that that goes on. And then to come out of your family situation with wounding and go into a relationship, a marriage or whatever, and then have children, it's really insane to be taking all that woundedness and traumas along with us, dump them on someone else,
mhm,
project them onto the kids, and then expect to have a happy life and children who can grow up and thrive. It'd be much better if we healed our childhood wounds first and then went out and, met the person who we could join with and have a flourishing life, rather than looking for the person who's going to fulfill us, make us happy. It's so cruel to go to do that to someone else. Like, you're supposed to make me happy. You're responsible for my emotions. But that's pretty much how most relationships work. About what you should be doing for me, how you make me feel. Whereas really, it's your I mean, that does happen in relationships, and sure, we do have to address things that come up, but really, when going in, being
yeah.
as whole and as healed as possible is the best gift that we can give to ourselves, our partner, and our children. Because I know from my experience, I didn't do any really much healing, and I just attracted one narcissist after another. Even when I realized I was attracting a narcissist, I had to, really have a stern talking to myself and go, you really need to Love yourself. Love yourself. Otherwise, this is just going to continue. And I knew when I finally had got to the point where my self-love was established that I didn't attract any more narcissists. My God,
Exactly.
I was a narcissist magnet. Well, I was coded.
But to your point, it was familiar to you.
Yeah,
And that type of behavior, that type of feeling that they project onto you is a familiar feeling. And I always
yeah,
tell my clients, it's like, no, we have like muscle memory, we have emotional memory too. So we are chasing this feeling where it is comfortable being uncomfortable. And I always say, when I met my partner now, I was used to attracting like toxic relationships. Either I'm the toxic one or they were the toxic one, but it was familiar to me. And
yeah.
that's what I wanted. Subconsciously, I didn't want it. Like I verbally said I didn't want that, but I energetically kept attracting that because I needed the work. I needed to work on myself. So when I finally met my current partner who was just emotionally giving and understanding, I was like, what's wrong with you? Something is wrong. And you're gaslighting me. This is not right. And he's like, what is wrong with you? It was uncomfortable.
I know. I was so my understanding of love from my mother was she was a narcissist. So love was abusive and
Mm,
critical and
mm,
judgmental and cold. So that was what I
mm.
knew as love. So I'm in relationships that are like that until I've learned that love isn't like that. And now I'm in a relationship where we actually have conversations. It's not like one-upmanship and criticism. And I remember the first time I heard a couple talking to each other, I thought, oh my God, they're just pretending here. But no, they were just being nice. They were just being naturally nice to each other. It's just because I came from a family where we didn't really have conversations. It was always arguments and one-upmanship
Yeah.
and criticism and all that. So I didn't really even have an experience of what it meant like to have a conversation like this, where it's just talking and listening and appreciating and learning and sharing. My advice to young people would be to start your healing path as soon as possible, because then you're setting yourself up for less suffering and better relationships. The sooner you can start, the better you'll be.
My God, I love that. But again, have and still doing the work on yourself and within yourself, and you were self aware. Like, okay, it was my normal, but this is not the norm. And this is not what I want for myself going forward. So you made those changes because of your self awareness and you poured into yourself. So that's amazing. And well, in that same vein, what is one gentle, accessible way someone can begin listening to their body without forcing a breakthrough?
Well, I would do it. If I was going to listen to my body, I would lie down in a safe, quiet, uninterrupted space, be comfortable, and then open up, like a meditation and address the body. I'm here to listen to you. I love you. Please let me know what you need, what I can do, how can I change, and then listen. And then listen, and if you
Mm,
don't hear anything, then just do it again and listen, and then maybe you'll get an idea of you might see something, hear something, feel something, and then follow that. So it's a bit like a treasure hunt, really. Follow the
yes.
signs of the body, and then like if you get advice, like if it's get up off your butt and walk every day for 15 minutes, then do that, because that's what strengthens
Mm,
intuition. If you're listening to the wisdom that's coming from
mm,
within, whether it's from the body or
mm,
from, your guides or ancestors or whatever, if you
yeah.
listen to the information you're getting and then follow it, it strengthens intuition, because intuition's like a muscle. And once you
Yeah.
continue to trust along the way, then eventually you're going to be following your inner guidance or higher guidance, and that will lead you so you're in the right place at the right time doing the right thing. And then so you're not so scared, like, what am I doing here? You've actually know what you're doing here. You've got the guidance. You've got your instructions. So that's what I do. I just get still and quiet, and listen. And then we all hear things differently, or feel things differently. So then you have to learn, oh, how does my body talk to me?
Mm,
'Cause for some people, like, they might feel it more in their gut, or you feel it in your chest. For me, I feel it a lot in my heart. So we all feel whatever we need to feel differently. I also don't see visions, but I think it's called claircognizance. So I just get basically instructions of what to do next. Like I know in my
Mm,
head, okay, I've got to do this, this, and this, and this, and so I do it. I just
mm.
keep following that guidance, and now I don't always it doesn't always feel like I got it right, but I'm certainly getting a lot more right than I did before. And I think it's important to set up that dialogue between like it's basically your soul and your body to make sure that you are working in harmony and as a team.
I love that. It's so I actually do that myself. When I wanna get, like, a answer, if I have, like, a problem coming up in my life, I'll lay down or I'll get in the bathtub.
Yeah, you knew you were gonna say bathtub. That came into my head. Exactly. Especially if
Yeah.
you're like a water sign, some people, are drawn to water, and that's where you'll get your best information. Yeah,
Yes. And I'll ask myself if I need to go this way, give me a sign within my body. And
yeah,
so for me, if I have like a fluttering in my tummy, that's a yes. If I have like a tightness in my chest, that's a no. But I know that I usually either I'm laying in the bed either before I go to sleep or I'm taking a bath and I lay there uninterrupted and I just this how I get my downloads and my answers. Okay, what do I need to do? And these are really life questions that I need to know. It's not like small, questions and things of that nature, but yeah, but again, it goes to your point. You have to stop and listen as well and feel. You're not going to be able to get this self awareness if you keep burying your issues with another person or with something else externally and expect a different result. It's just not going to happen. You have to stop, sit within and get grounded and go deep within and get those answers because we have all the answers. We are literally a soul having a human experience, not the other way around. So we're very intelligent beings. It's just we have to give ourselves that opportunity to experience that into that self-awareness.
yeah. Just on that, there's a reason why there are so many distractions going on around us, so now people are addicted to screens and even just the 5-day work schedule with, just 2 weeks off. The reasons why we're kept distracted from going within and doing our work is so we don't like, we really are being controlled here. We're being kept ignorant of who we really are and what powers we
Mhm,
have, why we're here, and and that's it's kind of disturbing really because most people are
mhm,
distracted all the time. And they don't even really have the
mhm.
headspace to think, "Oh, am I being distracted here?" It's just, "Oh, life continues on." So it's important to just get that crack in the door, go, "Oh, hang on a minute here, there are other important things to do than pay bills." I mean, I know that so many people are living, like, close to the edge and all that, and they honestly don't have time to sit down or even interest in sitting down and tuning into their body. That's fair enough, really, when you're in survival mode, and a lot of people have been put into
That's
survival
true.
mode, so they don't do the work. And so for those of us who are, like, devoted to healing and spiritual growth and evolution, we're the ones who can ultimately change the world, because otherwise everyone's just going to continue on with the way things are. But because we have the awareness, we have the tools, we have the connections, we also have the responsibility to, you know, contribute to a better world. Whether that's just being kind to people who you meet or writing
Mm,
books or creating a podcast or whatever, but we do have I feel like I have a responsibility to give back, to help, to serve, bring people out of the suffering into a better life.
that's beautiful.
Yeah. And I was going to give I wanted to, in case I don't get to do this, but talk about the importance of nature in our uh, growth and evolution. And we have been intentionally disconnected from nature by
Mhm.
living in cities, by eating processed foods, by wearing rubber soled shoes, by staying indoors and looking at screens all the time. And without a connection to nature, without time in nature, it is impossible to experience optimal physical and mental health. We need to be
Mm.
grounded, directly connected to earth, skin to earth, like lie on the ground, wear bare feet, have
Mm.
bare feet, walk on the beach, touch trees, because that's trees are grounded, right? Their roots are in the earth. So if you
Yes.
People make fun of tree hugging, but really it's an important practice if you want to stay connected to earth and earth
Mm.
energy. That's how we can receive the power of the earth, as well as like negative ions and positive
Yes.
electrons and all that. And it's the only way that we can be rebalanced electromagnetically with all the chaotic EMFs and that are everywhere.
Mhm.
Unless we're rebalanced and brought back to, neutral, then that sets up all sorts of problems in the body, and then that can also cause mental health problems too. So we need to stay directly connected to the earth, spend time, like you can lie on sand, lie on grass, and even concrete and bricks are conductive to earth energy. And then, if find a spot in nature where you can go and walk or sit or, have a picnic, take your children and just go camping, really. Spend as much time in nature as possible because nature's always offering healing and energies and all other sorts of things that
Yes.
we really need. Who knows what we need? I don't know exactly what I need, but I know because I sun gaze most days, so I receive the highest information available to us at the moment,
Mm.
light, the sunlight, right into my pineal and pituitary glands. And I don't know exactly what it does, but I can tell you it
Mhm.
allowed me to write a 800-page book with fabulous information that can help us understand who we are, what's going on in the world, and how we can empower and protect ourselves. I know a
Mm.
lot of people have not really appreciated how important nature is in our lives and our children's lives too. Like we've
Mm.
got 2 generations now of humans who have grown up relating to life through a
With a
screen.
screen.
Right? Rather than being out in
Yes.
nature and listening to the wind or watching the flock of birds or an ant crawl across the ground, like those sorts of things are really important. They calm the nervous system. They, just, okay, it's here, we're on Earth. You don't have to be caught up in the news cycle or the other people's dramas or whatever. Just calm down, relax, enjoy, receive, and give thanks. So spending time in nature is essential for all of us. And then in addition to that, what I do is I bring nature indoors. So I've got plants around. I live next to the ocean, so I don't need to do this. But when I was
Mm.
living in the city, I played the sounds of ocean waves and rain and
Mm.
birds. You got YouTube videos that just play those sounds. So then I'm listening to the sounds of nature, and that's very calming for the body and the mind as well. You can diffuse essential oils, like maybe you want pine.
Mhm.
So you can wear essential oils. They're highly beneficial for grounding, you know, and all sorts of
Mm.
healing as well as heaps of stuff. Love essential oils. You can use crystals. They will ground you, protect you, heal you. And what else do I do inside? Oh, yeah. So, yes, diffusing oils. You can use natural lighting, like have candles instead of overhead lighting, because that's much more. It's better for us to have natural lighting rather than LEDs or fluorescent lighting or whatever. So I've set my home up so I'm still connected with nature even when I'm indoors.
I love that. That was the question I was gonna ask you. What are some things that we can do? So you answered it. It was perfect. What can we do to assist us on our healing journey?
Yeah,
But you made
spend
a
as
good
much
point earlier.
I was gonna say the things as much time in nature as possible every day and bring nature indoors.
Made a g No, you made a great point earlier that it's by design that we are kept busy and just disconnected from our internal world. And we get so buy into this work 40 hours a week and be grateful for the little 2-week vacation you get and whatever that looks like. And it's just like, no. every chance that you get, go outside. And when I told you I went to Hawaii for Thanksgiving, we went to the beach every day and just ate outside and watched the sunset and just like went to the beach, and it was nothing fancy, but it was so magical and healing in just being outside, watching the sunset, listening to the ocean, just even listening to the like kids play on the sand,
Yeah,
and seeing sand get kicked up.
yeah,
That in itself was therapeutic.
yeah.
So yeah, and people take for granted hugging trees because that in itself is life. And if I feel like I'm spiraling, I literally just walk outside and walk to I'm not too far from Lake Merritt. And so I just walk to the lake, take off my shoes, and I just sit there and I have to just get myself back grounded like, okay, something is off. I need to get out of here and get back into here. And
Right.
so
Perfect.
thank you. Thank you. Yes. So Isabella, before we leave, how can people find you? How can people work with you? Do you do Zoom calls nationwide or do you do only in person? How can we work with you and where can we find your two amazing books?
Well, I have my teaching is through my books and through my YouTube channel. My website is feelingbetternaturally.love. And on the website, I have my artwork and my books and videos and stuff like that. That some of them aren't on the website. I mean, some of them aren't on the YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is Better Naturally, and I also have a Substack by the same name book, New Human of New Earth, and you could get this on Amazon. And I really hope that the information is beneficial. It's really just a remembrance of how to be a divine human. Very simple things. The medicines
Yes.
are all like we've talked about. Being in nature, being human, watching children play, laughing, dancing. I think it's really important that we continue to
Yes.
do what makes us human. Getting with other people and talking, not
Yes.
just keep the phones out of it. Just have conversations, listen to music together, make
Mm.
music together, dance, make love with your partner. We need to be doing what
Mhm.
keeps us human because that's what makes us most powerful and
Yes.
most healthy. There's so many distractions going on that are dehumanizing. So,
Yeah.
cooking from, eating together, human stuff.
Yes. I love that. And I'm going to have everything, all your information within the show notes as well. So people can reach out, people can purchase your books and just continue. That's a part of healing as well. You know, investing in yourself and pouring into yourself through books and talking.
Reading books, actually, reading a physical book. There's medicine in that. Yeah.
Yes. My partner always say I'm old school because I like the actual book. I want to smell it. I want to
Yeah,
feel it.
right,
I just like it in my hand, you know?
right.
So
It
so
does, it's
yes.
powerful medicine.
Yes. Well, Isabella, thank you so much for your time, your wisdom, your experiences. Thank you so much. And thank you to all our listeners who taken out the time to just pour into yourself with our conversation. I am Dr. Frida and I will see you next week. Thank you.